Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I have a pair of Accus. These are the Jager Evo Low GTX. I'm going to review these and give these a cleaning. They have an awesome feature. I'll show you them. There you go. Leather wraparound with Velcro. We'll look more at this in a bit, but for now I'm going to bring you to the slide deck and talk to you about some of the features. All right, here we are. Let me turn on picture-in-picture here. So these are the Jager Low Evo GTX. These are a great pair of shoes. I've put about close to 100 kilometers on them, maybe around 80, 90 kilometers with and with weight, just walking around town, taking it on a few rucks. And I have a bit of an opinion about them, a good one. But I'll bring you through some of the marketing jargon that Accu has on these. All right, so cover rugged terrain in cold and damp environments with moderate loads, so not heavy loads. The Jager Evo Low GTX is a mid-height, rugged boot with a full-grain leather upper designed for intensive use in damp and cold areas. The perfect boot for hunting and forestry work, the Jager Low GTX features a waterproof and breathable Gore-Tex membrane, lining, and rugged Vibram sole. Put on the Jager Low GTX for instant comfort thanks to the ultralight micro-porous midsole that will help you stay on your feet longer and fatigue less. Handmade in our Montebelluna, Italy headquarters. It also features the Elica Natural Stride System, which ensures an anatomical fit to better provide stability and weight distribution across the sole of your shoe. Price $429. They're on sale for pretty cheap right now. $215. These are, I think, usually when shoes are that cheap by Accu, they're being discontinued. Some details. Line description, Gore-Tex, performance comfort. I'm not sure if that's a particular form of Gore-Tex. Sole Vibram Fora. I'll show you some features on that in a minute. Footbed, Accu custom fit. Stiffness, pretty stiff boot. Lasting board, 4 to 6 millimeter nylon, pretty thick lasting board. Midsole, die cut EVA. Upper is 2.8 millimeter full grain leather and rubber rand. Really good quality leather. This stuff will last you forever. Resolable, yes, which is always pretty cool, especially if you wind up paying retail for these, which is about $429. But again, these are on sale for $215, so a great value for handmade boots in Italy, which is pretty great. 880 grams per boot, pretty heavy. Of course, these are a stiff, heavy leather hunting boot, so that's par for the course. Handcrafted by Accu in Italy. So, I talked about the Fora system. The Fora refers to a Vibram insole and the way it's made in order to traverse certain terrain. So you can see here from the way the diagram is here that the outsole is meant to serve different purposes of where, pardon me, let's go back here, of where the tips are for grip and where you notice there's a lot more traction or sort of rubber to kind of get more rubber onto the front and the back of where we toe and heel off. And of course in the middle where there's the 2 in the red is meant for traction and stability. So there's even some more stability here. And this part is where you get the traction of taking in all that mud and all that gunk. Now the Elica Natural Stride System. This is something unique to Accu, of where you'll see the dual density here of where it's a soft cushioning, white on the top, and on the bottom it's just more stiff, of where this provides more stability underneath your foot. Another perspective is here. This is from the back of the heel. You'll notice on the left side it's a little thicker. This is the right side of your boot, because when you do step off, you're stepping off usually in the back left side of your heel, and when you toe off it's a little thicker up here where you toe off on the mid part of your foot as well. Another perspective is with a different pair of Accus we have here. You can't see it on these Accus because they have a straight black bottom, but with these Accus you can see the Elica Natural Stride System externally, of where you can see the the harder rubber part on the outside here, right? And there's more soft of this black part on top of this orange part where your cushioning your foot heel hits. And when you toe off, you're usually toeing off on the inside of your foot. So there's a harder rubber here, but there's also more cushioning on top. So it's cushioning on the ball of your foot. And that's sort of their Elica Stride System. I really like this because I tend to pronate, meaning my foot leans tends to lean outwards, and this keeps my feet, giving them more stability, giving me a proper step. So it's not all just marketing jargon. It's all pretty good stuff. So that's these things in a nutshell. My review is I really like them. They're good quality boots. I'm a big fan of Aku quality. The folds, something very unique about these you'll notice, is they don't have a standard tongue. This is one piece of leather right down here. I'll zoom in and show you. You'll see this is just one piece of leather. There is no stitch here. It's just folded over. Where normally a boot will be kind of cut here, and the tongue goes all the way down. With these, the Jagers, they go all the way up here. It is all folded, and this is where the tongue actually begins. It begins higher up on the boot. So that's a really cool feature. The benefit of this is there's less folds and less stitching and less cuts. So this feels very natural over your forefoot, right? The only fold is at the side here where your foot curves off anyways. And so this makes for a really comfortable boot. Another thing it makes for is less failures. Anytime there's a cut and a stitch closer to where there's creases in the front of your boot where it gets the most wear and tear, that's another failure point, right? Here there's actually no failure points in the front. So that's a really cool feature. Another feature you've noticed is this wrap, right? So it's a typical lacing system with a hook lace, and you sort of tie it up normally, but then you can wrap it around and then just Velcro it in, right? And that's pretty great. At first I thought this was a gimmick. I wasn't quite sure on how it'd feel around my boot. You'll see this feature on certain tanker boots, right, with no laces, and this is how you lock in. But this is great. This locked my shin, my calf really in and really far back. It stops laces from coming undone or getting tangled on anything. So that was really good. I'd recommend these boots. If you can find them in stock or still on sale and they have your size at Aku, you should definitely get them. Anyways, onto the cleaning. These things are a mess. If you look at them, they're due for their first cleaning. They still have their natural sort of treatment from the factory. I've got rocks in here. It needs to come off. A bit of the natural treatment is coming off around the rind, which is natural. So I want to maintain that and make sure it doesn't get too porous here, because the moisture will get in under the rind and eventually it'll start to peel off. So you want to maintain that. There's a couple of scruffs around which you want to maintain. They're dirty, so I'll get them clean. We'll clean them with some soap suds, saddle soap, pardon me. And then we'll add some polish and we'll shine the tips. I might wax the laces as well. You'll see that there's some scruffs I want to take care of as well, so that way they don't absorb too much moisture and then it just digs deeper and deeper into the leather. All right. First things first, let's get these cleaned. I'm going to pop the laces off, actually. Let's get these laces out. They have your standard rivet system. Once I get these laces out, I could actually show you how the leather folds. I get these rocks out the laces as well. Those rocks out, don't need those in there. And let me zoom in, you can see how this unfolds. Yeah, there she is, right? Get those rocks out, and there's, you can see just one piece of leather, just fold it over. And that's what leads to the comfort on the top of your forefoot. Pretty rad. Let's get these laces out. Once these get broken in, like any thick leather boot, it takes some time, but once they get broken in, they feel like a pair of socks, which is amazing. Using the leather wrap, the Velcro here, does take some getting used to. At first, when you get the boots, they're pretty stiff. They're a little annoying. They always want to naturally just kind of flip back and close on you as you're tying your shoelace. But now that they're a little more worn in, you'll see it's a little looser. It stays open as you put on your shoes. So you gotta be patient. Once it breaks in, they get super comfortable and a little less annoying with that thing trying to lock on you all the time. Get some dirt off these. And let's get the dirt off these things. What a mess. Got some saddle soap here. For those of you who aren't familiar with saddle soap, it's just a gentle waxy, fatty type of cleaner. It's a non-detergent, right? So you don't want to ever use a detergent on your boot because that destroys the natural oils and the treatment from the tanning that are there. And this is what it looks like. This is a simple saddle soap. You add some water into the lid and you add some saddle soap, and that's all you got to do. Don't need much. Let's get these cleaned. Yeah. They'll sud right up. And this stuff, you just gotta wipe it off after. I'm gonna clean the sides as well. Let's get all the dirt and dust off. This stuff works great. You don't want to clean your boots too often with this stuff. So it is a better pH balanced for the leather, but it's not perfectly. So if you wash like profusely with these things, and I mean like if you're washing like a couple times a week, eventually it'll leave the leather a little more brittle, and you don't want to do that. If you need to wash your boots like you're just in dirt all the time, you need to wash them once a week, just use some water and a brush. All right, that's one boot down. Let's get this other one. I'll zoom in for this second one for you guys before I wipe everything else off. Rocks everywhere, man. It's from hiking on the beach. Perfect. If you come home with boots that are really bad, give them just with water, a bit of a pre-cleaning, get all the gunk off. If it's just dust, you can go right into your soap suds. Awesome. Done with that. And you just gotta use a regular cotton rag just to wipe them off. You want to give them a good wipe because we're going to polish them right now. So you don't want to leave moisture on your shoe if you can help it. So to me, these are a gorgeous classic brown leather boot. I like them a lot. Aesthetically, they look good. They're not big and bulky, which some of these heavy sort of hunting boots can be. They are keen to like your classic brown leather military boot, which I like, which Aku makes. They have a history of that. Very comfortable. Breathing, there are cool weather. Like if you're in moderate warm weather, I'm talking about 10 degrees or more, your foot will sweat in these if you're doing work because it's just a heavy, thick leather and it's Gore-Tex, right? So definitely for cold weather and cooler weather. Or if you're just wearing it around town, that could work as well. Fit and sizing, I think they come only in like a regular size as far as widths go, one single size. Me, I'm a regular, slightly wider foot, and they've been great for me. I bought true to size, so Nike, I'm a size 12, and I bought these in size 12, and they fit perfect. Now by perfect, what I mean is there's about a centimeter of play in front of my foot, a little less, maybe like 6 or 7 millimeters, which is just what I like, which is very actually important for a boot because if you're carrying weight, you might have a thicker sock you might be walking downhill, you need play in the tip of your shoe and to have space. Because then if you ever wear a shoe that's fit really, really well for you, that's like, I mean, like that's tight, and you walk downhill, you're carrying load, that's going to hurt real fast, real quick, and that's how you lose toenails. So always make sure you get a boot that fits you properly. All right, look at that. These are already looking like almost brand new. Well, and they are pretty new, you know, they have less than 100 kilometers on them. But we're still going to polish them and just kind of just stay on top of things. You never want to let the tans and the oils sort of go too far before you start treating this stuff, because then it's too late. We're going to use leather grease, which is from Ultberg, my military boots. These ones, these are my brown leather ones. These are Ultbergs. I have a cleaning video on these. I'll show you, I'll link that in the description as well, so you look at me review these. But they came with this awesome kit, so I'm going to use the same sort of treatment for it, which is just a waxy polish. There it is. I have a putting on brush, right? And so you just use this brush and you just roughly apply wax, and then we're going to rub it in. We're definitely going to want to get along all the edges of the rand. That's where I'm seeing some of the oils come off. And you definitely want to apply to, so around the rand, where this is a ton of wax I put on here by accident. Usually you don't need to put that much, but there you are, right? And you also want to apply around the area of where there's a lot of flex, right? So that is where you tend to kneel and where this step is. There you go. I am just accidentally applying a ridiculous amount of wax here, which is not my intent. There you go. So definitely around this area where there's a lot of flex and where your toe flex is, you want to have that there and get in those areas. That's where the leather cracks, and around this part over here, the rand, and any scuffs. So if you scuffed your shoe somewhere, get that just impregnated with wax. I also like to get in the stitching, because that's where water can permeate as well. And where the leather cuts are. So basically around the stitching and the open exposed leather parts. So, for the record, I've put way too much wax on these boots. I don't need that much. I just did that by accident. It's alright. Better too much than too little. Let's get in here in this fold. I want to make sure that part is treated. Awesome. I'll put that to the side for now. Let's do these ones. From a traction grip perspective, I've had these on ice. They're okay. They perform as well as any other boot on ice. They're not bad. I've had bad boots on ice where you step on it, you start instantly slipping. The Vibram Fora sole works actually pretty good on ice. Of course, if you're just on ice and you're just going to be on that stuff for a while, nothing beats a pair of spikes. So they will not replace that. But they weren't bad. Weight-wise, like I said, a little on the heavier side for a regular boot. These are a thick leather hunting boot, and they're not heavy by that means, but when I was going distance of, you know, over 10K with like a ruck on my back, you feel it in your feet. They are a stiffer boot. They are a heavier boot, right? For durability, I expect these things, like with Aku quality, they're going to last me years. I'm thinking easily 10 years. I am planning on keeping these for that long. I do want to resole them, and they're resolable, so that's awesome. Buy once, cry once. All right, let's get this toe, and then we're done with this left boot. Awesome. That's it for the putting on brush. Now we're just going to use this brush and rub all the wax in, which is a finer brush. Let's get that wax in there. Just going to rub lightly, get that stuff in. I am going to use an even finer brush after this, just to push it in deeper into any crevices. And this takes off any excess wax as well. From weather performance, again, I've had these in cold, I've had these in rain. Water's no problem. Even if they weren't Gore-Tex, water wouldn't be a problem because they're just a thick leather, well treated. There's very little stitching, so that'd be fine. All right, that's the right boot. Let's get this guy in. From a functionalities and features perspective, like the lacing system is great. It's your classic leather system with loops on the bottom along here. And then they have the hooks at the top. So you can lock your midfoot in and then you just finish tying your laces. I like it when they keep it simple. Too many boot companies just try to change things up and they don't actually make it better. They make it worse. Aku has done that before too, with certain shoes. All right, this is the first brush with this one. Again, there's a lot of wax on it. This just kind of takes off any excess wax and rubs it in a little bit. And then here's this one, which is a very fine one, which I use for polishing and pushing leather in even more. You just want to go finer and finer. Kind of like sandpaper almost, where you go to a finer grit and it just makes it more of a gives it more of a polish. Same with your brushes. Yeah, looking good. That's one boot, looking pretty squared away already. This is great. Aku, if you've ever had a pair of Akus, you'll know they're really well built. From a brand perspective, I've had to warranty Danners. I've had to warranty Solomon's. I have Merrells, I've had to warranty those. I have 2 Aku boots now, I've never had to warranty them. So I don't have experience with a warranty sort of program. From what I've read and heard online, they're a pretty reliable company. They're really good boots. You don't have to warranty them often, but when you do, I've heard they're good to work with. Just no first-hand experience. I will say, shopping experience where I've had to return boots, they've been awesome. I've had to interact with their customer service before from an order issue I've had, and they fixed it right up right away. So they're pretty great in that respect. So they've got great customer service. All right. I think I've got enough of the wax out I need to. Look at that. These are looking almost done already. I haven't even fully polished the toes yet. Looking good. Awesome. We're done with this. Now it's time for high shine gloss on the toes. Let's get that going. This stuff I apply with my hands. So I'm just going to do a bit on the toes. Let's do the right boot first. And I'm going to show you here on the zoom cam. So what the polishes is really, which is right here, it's a very fine, like a powdery kind of wax. It is fine. And what it's meant for, and the reason you get that shine is because it is very fine. Again, like a fine grit sandpaper. What you want it for is you actually want it to get in these crevices here. So you can fill it in. In a way, it's like, think of it as like a wrinkle filler, right? And this prevents dirt from getting in these cracks. It prevents water from getting in and prolongs the life of your boot. Aesthetically, of course, yeah, it creates a shine in the leather, but functionally, and the utility of it actually is, it's a very fine wax shoe polish, which prolongs the life of your boot. And you definitely want it right in here, these parts. Of course, this is where all the scruffs go, right? Usually the tip of your shoe. This is why the fine polish is there. And over time, it just became an aesthetic thing of where you always have the tips of your shoes polished. Especially this section right here where the fold is. I want to make sure that's well maintained. He's got to rub in a couple layers. I'm not going to make this a mirror finish. That's another video. It takes a lot of work. Yeah, just get it right on the tips of the toes there. And then you just give it a quick brush and use a soft cloth, and you just give it a bit of a quick polish. And then you have a bit of a shine, and that's it. All right, let's get the other boot. This is my right boot. And I have some scuffs around the back of these boots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply it in the scuffs as well. Yeah, if you spend money on your boots, especially if you spend like a lot of money on them, this stuff will prolong the life of them. Don't waste your money that you've invested in these things. They're not cheap. Spend your time cleaning them, polishing them, making sure the leather doesn't get destroyed. They'll last you a really long time. It's also therapeutic. For me, this is my meditation. All right. I don't think I've missed anything. Yeah, that's good. Where's the scuffs? Yeah, I have a scuff right back here in the heel. Get it in there. Right boot's pretty good. I don't think I've missed anything else. All right, that's it for the polish. We are gonna do another rub with the fine brush on the toe. Make sure we rub it in a bit. And we'll use the cloth after to get it really shiny. All right, cloth time. All right, I'm gonna put these boots down on my lap because I gotta do the classic boot polish where I put the cloth back and forth to give it its final shine. Look at that, looking shiny. Great, eh? Yeah. And really what I'm doing for these, you've seen it on TV and stuff like that when people are shining shoes, just go back and forth really quickly. It's easy if I have it between my legs where I can apply some pressure and do it quickly. There you go. Look at these guys. Huh? Not too shabby. Nice and shiny. Squared away. All right, quickly, final thing. We're running on like 30 minutes almost. I'm going to wax these laces and get them in and get them tied up and we'll finish up. So just to wax these laces, just take the brown leather polish, run them through, and you have wax impregnated laces. I like doing it with these with laces because makes them last a little longer, adds some water resistance to them, stops dirt from getting too deep into the lace and fraying the lacing, the sheathing of the laces. Add some stiffness to them as well, which I really like. So just run them through back and forth, and then you can run them through with your hands and rub that polish in. You'll see they get a bit of a sheen to them. Yeah, that's great. Do that a couple times, and you have some wax laces. They just make the lace look better too. I'll show you on the close-up. So I just kind of have them in here, and I just kind of pull them through, push them in. Make sure you get both sides of the lace. You can tell by this wax polish that I've done it a couple times with other boots before. And then it's all kind of gunky and everything, so you just rub it into the lace. Again, these laces are like paracord laces, so they have a sheathing. Rub it into the sheathing. I'll go back the other way. Yeah. All right. Quickly, let's get these in. Awesome. Do me a favor. Let me know if there's a pair of boots you guys are interested in having reviewed. I am running out of boots that I currently own to review and looking at picking up another few pairs. Also, do me a favor and like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing here. Thanks a lot. Yeah. Get these laced up. I love boots with like unique features like these. And boots with history as well. All right, these are squared away. Put these in here. Look at that, set. Looking good. Depending on what I'm doing with my boots and how bad they get torn up, I am usually polishing them about this time period, right? Every like 80, 90 kilometers. Just depends on what's happening, how much crap I put them through. All right. I love a clean pair of boots that have just been treated. Nothing beats them, man. These are the best. All right, look at these. One quick polish, get these fingerprints off of here. I give you guys the final sneak peek. Yeah, look at those. Beautiful, I love it. Squared away. All right, thanks guys, that's it. Do me a favor, like and subscribe. This is my review and cleaning of the Jager Evo Lows. Thanks a lot.